All right, here we go.
Okay. Stop. Don't just stop. We're gonna get our chat banned from us if we
All
don't.
right, here we go. So remember yesterday we talked about Just Right Books. And because my table is here, I'm so excited it's here. I was able to make our anchor chart. So I'll go ahead and move you guys closer so you can see it. Oh, but it's backwards for you.
No, it's not.
Oh, you can see it just fine? You can read that?
It's fine.
Okay. All right, so to make reading the best it can be, I will find a good reading spot, choose books I love, talk about books, read books like they're gold, and then yesterday we talked about check that books are just right or within reach. Okay, so today we're going to go ahead and talk about setting goals and tracking progress. Okay. All right, so earlier we talked about setting up a good place to read at home, maybe with a lamp. Thumbs up if you have a good spot to read at home. If you have a good spot to read at home. Or no, or maybe. Not exactly at home. That's all right. You have a good spot to read.
Friday, though.
You will on Friday, okay. All right, I like seeing all your thumbs. All right, so we talked about getting together. Oh, all right, so here's the important thing to remember. The reason that finding a good reading spot matters and that getting books you can read matters has everything to do with this. Okay, so your reading log. It has everything to do with your reading log, okay? The one thing that matters ultimately is that you read a ton, more than you ever dreamt. Okay, so do you know that there are researchers whose jobs it is to study how people become expert at things? How many of you knew that? All right, they don't just study kids. They study how skiers become expert at going over ski jumps and how people learn to win those Dancing with the Stars contests. Because your goal this year is not just to love reading, but also to zoom ahead as readers to become experts at reading. I thought you'd be interested oh my goodness, let me just restart the sentence. I thought you'd be interested to hear what these researchers found. All right, so today I want to teach you that researchers have found that if a person wants to get really good at something, that person needs to set clear goals and keep track of their progress toward these goals. Does that make sense? If you want to get really good at something, you have to set goals and keep working at those goals. That makes sense? I love seeing the thumbs and the head nods. All right. So right now I want you to think about people in your life or on TV who are working at getting better at something. Do you know a grown-up who was working on losing weight or a runner who was working on speed? My hunch is that these people know exactly what their goals are and that they collect and study evidence of their progress toward those goals. The person trying to lose weight gets on the scale often to check on his progress and may even chart it. The runner keeps track of miles run and keeps track of time too, trying to beat her latest record. Okay, so does that make sense how they're tracking their goals? How they're tracking their progress? Yeah, okay. All right, so each one of you sets goals all the time, even if you don't call them that. Like when you say, I'm gonna try to get another level in a game. I've got to be faster. Or I'm going to try to jump rope one more time because I keep getting tripped up in the rope. You set a goal. You get yourself ready, set, and go. Okay, of course, when the goal is increasing the number of levels you reach in a game or the number of jumps you can make, it's easy to see and count your progress. But how do you set goals for reading? And how do you see and count progress in reading? I mean, reading isn't like swinging a hula hoop around you once, twice, 3 times. Reading is invisible work, right? How many of you agree that reading work is invisible? Destiny, make sure you're listening to me. Destiny, make sure you're listening to me. All right, I love seeing the hands that you agree with me. All right, so there is a way that you can track your reading goals and your reading progress. Okay, do you want me to tell you what the best way is to track your reading? To monitor if you're reaching your goals or not? It's your reading log. Okay, so when you use your reading log, that is the easiest and the best way to track if you're meeting or progressing towards your reading goal, okay? So let me go ahead and show you my reading log. Let's see if this computer or if this camera will share. Perfect, it did right on the first try. All right. Can everyone see that? All right, so here's my reading log, okay? So this one is from last year because we're not in 828 yet. All right, so 828, how, here's the title of my book. How, why, how we do anything means everything, okay? And I read this at home. I started on page 1, I ended on page 29, and I read for 28 minutes, and it was nonfiction. The next day, I read Still Life with Breadcrumbs. I started on page 33, I ended on page 52. I read for 28 minutes, and that was a fiction book. Then the same day, I read Newsweek. I started on page 2, ended on page 4, read for 13 minutes, and that was nonfiction. And then the next day, I read about Steve Jobs. I started on page 142, ended on page 165, read for 30 minutes. It's a biography. And then I read Mountains Beyond Mountains. I started on page 22, ended on page 25, and that was biography. Or started on page 1, ended on page 22 for 25 minutes. Okay. So I want you to go ahead and look at my reading log and look and just kind of, do you notice anything about this reading log? Does anyone notice anything about this reading log? Let me scroll down to see hands. Does anyone notice anything about this reading log? Go ahead, Heavenly.
The levels?
Yeah, I read all the same level. Okay. Nice job. Nice noticing. What else do you notice?
They didn't type in anything means anything means everything.
Okay.
Like a thing. See?
You mean like it's not italicized like everything else?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What else do we notice? Heavenly, go ahead.
Home or school?
They're all at, right? I read all at home. I didn't do any of my reading at school, which you guys are doing all of your reading at home too. All right, Destiny, what do you notice?
I noticed that you read Still Life with Breadcrumbs, 28 minutes.
Yeah, for 28
and it
minutes.
Was fiction.
And it was fiction. Nice noticing. All right, Kamaria, go ahead.
And the second book you read, is that a Z or is that the D?
That these two are the same dates? Is that what you're saying?
The second one, it don't have a date or don't have a C plus.
That it doesn't have a date on it? All right. All right, so what I noticed about my reading log is I read for about 20 or 25 minutes every day, okay? All right, so here's one thing that I want you to remember. All right, the log is not just a fancy or like a for show thing. It's a tool for making you and me a better reader. Okay, you're not just going to fill in the log. All right, you also study it, just like I just studied my reading log. I can look at past entries and note that I am reading nothing but fiction and then resolve to make a go at nonfiction reading each day, even if it's just the newspaper or an article you find online. Or I can look across my entries and think, am I reading more pages on the bus than at home? What's keeping me from reading at home? Maybe I have too many distractions there, and I will try to fix that. Just like a professional athlete, I can study my results and figure out what I need to do to make my performance better. All right, so remember at the beginning of reading how we talked about our anchor chart behind me? Yes? Remember that? All right, so today we're going to add study my reading patterns and set new goals, okay? So that's what we're going to add to our anchor chart today. All right, you're going to study your reading patterns and set new goals. Okay, so today when we do independent reading, you guys will be setting your own reading goals. And I have this picture I want to show you to help you set your goals. Okay, they're called SMART goals. So let me go ahead and share my camera. Okay, so we have SMARTs. Do you see how it kind of spells out SMART? So your goal should be specific, set clear goals and detailed. Okay, measurable, how will you know what's the proof? Achievable, what's possible or doable? Rewarding, working towards something special. And time, is it weekly? In 1 week I will, and then put your goal, or within 1 week, or wow. Okay, so I also put this picture up on your Canvas page for you when you make your goals today. All right, does anyone have any questions about setting goals? No questions? Kamaria, go ahead and sit up, okay?
Miss Stanfield, I was just gonna say that I see a few friends who are laying down. I see most friends sitting up, which is great, but you guys are at school right now. So although you might be at your house, you're in Miss Stanfield's reading class right now. So you should be sitting up and listening just as if you were at the school building. So I see one more friend still laying down. Make sure you are ready for learning.
Okay, go ahead and sit up, okay? All right, so does anyone have any questions about setting your goals and what that will look like today? No? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what your independent work will look like today. So